Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, and I'm your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 360 of our trek, and earlier this month we began a detailed series, which we originally introduced in January, called Your Life Plan Blueprint. We have synthesized this information into a 100-page manual workbook, which contains all the forms needed to create and maintain your personal life plan. This is our initial release of the manual workbook, and it is available for download at wisdom-trek.com on the left-hand sidebar of any page. Or if you're listening on your smartphone, you can text the word Life Plan with no spaces to 44222, and your life plan will be delivered to you in an email. The manual workbook is free during the month of May, so I would encourage you to become one of our early adopters so that all the updates will be available to you free also. By the end of 2016, we will have a complete web mobile version available of your Life Plan Blueprint that you'll be able to complete online. Thank you so much for coming along with me as we trek through each page. If you'd like to listen to any of the past episodes, please go to wisdom-trek.com to listen to them, which includes the appropriate pages of your Life Plan Blueprint. You can also subscribe to Wisdom Trek at iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Google Play so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. The temperatures are going to be a lot warmer this week, and with the rain that we've had, the flowers should flourish. We should be able to get the roses planted in the ground and the potted impatiens placed in the appropriate spots. I did set out some deer deterrent stakes, so we should know fairly soon if the results are as advertised. In the mornings, I have been swapping out my treadmill time to work on the woodwork and floor upstairs, as it also provides a decent workout for me. The change should work well, although I do miss my morning runs. As a reminder, we are looking at changing the format of Wisdom Trek on June 1st. Please email me at guthrie@venturecg.com or leave me a comment at the bottom of today's journal and let me know if you'd like me to continue Wisdom Trek on a 7-day, 5-day, or 3-day per week schedule. Also, let me know if you'd like any changes to the format of our daily trek. We do have a lot of other projects that we're working on, and we need to know how best to focus our time. And thank you in advance for your feedback. It is now time to get started on our 22nd day of your Life Plan Blueprint workbook. If you have missed any of the previous days in this series, they are available at wisdom-trek.com. On our trek for today, we will finish up the 4th step of the WESPER framework, which is the planning phase. And then we'll move on to the 5th step of the WESPER framework, which is the execution phase. We are taking several days to hike you through each step of creating your life plan. I would encourage you to trek with me through this process and complete the associated forms that are included in your Life Plan Blueprint workbook. If you are following along in the manual workbook today, let's first explore the 3rd segment of planning, which is page 53 in your Life Plan Blueprint. You can also view this information on the journal for day 360 at wisdom-trek.com. So step number 3 under planning is to ensure congruency with your strategy. As a checkpoint, your goals and plans that you develop should be congruent or consistent with your strategy. Your strategy is a subset of your life plan blueprint, so your goal activity plans should be based on the blueprint and not deviate from it. In any scenario, when you find inconsistencies in your goal plans versus your strategy, you need to do one of two things. Either revisit your strategy and examine if you missed something during that step, or revise your goal plans to fit your strategy. If you don't do so, it'd be like building a house without following the blueprints that you have. For example, let's say you want to reduce your body fat by 10%. Your main strategy is to do high-intensity interval training. It involves doing bursts of intense exercise that is followed by lower-intensity exercises. This method has been proven to be an effective way in reducing fat compared to other methods of exercise. However, when you're doing your planning, you fill up your schedule with aerobic lessons and resistance training, which is not part of your high-intensity interval training exercises. This will cause you to miss your benchmark. To stay true to your strategy, you should identify exercises that will allow you to follow your high-intensity interval training, such as a treadmill, running, or an elliptical trainer. Let's look at another example. Say one of your objectives is to improve your overall health, and one of your measurable activities is to lose 25 pounds. As part of your activity goal plans, you decide to reduce your overall intake of food. And say you've done that successfully, but you still find yourself eating out several times per week, and you continue to purchase highly processed or boxed meals instead of preparing meals from whole foods, so you see your plans are not consistent with your strategy to improve your overall health. As you are setting your activity goal plans, remember to solicit the trusted advice of your mentors that will assist you. Proverbs chapter 15:22 tells us, plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. With the right planning that is consistent with your strategy, your execution of those activities will become an easier task. Now that we've finished the planning phase of your life plan blueprint, let's move on up the trail to the execution phase. Execution is where all the wisdom, establishing, strategy, and planning are put into action. It is where your boots hit the trail, and you start up the trail toward your destination. So WESPER step number 5 is execution. So far we've covered the first 4 steps of the WESPER framework. Those 4 steps are wisdom, establish, strategy, and planning. Next we'll focus on the execution and then move on to the review. All 6 steps of the WESPER framework are important, and no step should be missed or marginalized. If you have one step that is absolutely imperative, though, it is execution. As I said, execution is where your boots hit the trail. Or as Thomas Edison put it, vision without execution is hallucination. And it could also be said that execution is all that the world sees. Execution is the 5th step of the WESPER framework. This is the step where your objectives and goals really get brought to life in physical reality. Let's see how the WESPER framework ties together into this execution. When you are seeking wisdom, you search for it in 3 ways. Through the study of the Bible, through your network of family, friends, and mentors, and by asking God directly for wisdom through prayer and meditation. Wisdom provides the seeds of hope that are then planted into your life to help you to determine what your life purpose is and how you can fulfill that purpose. This is the very foundation on which your life plan blueprint is built. When you are establishing your 7-year objectives and goals in each of the 7 areas of your life, you begin the creation of your life plan blueprint. You start to see a virtual image in your mind and on paper of what you would be able to accomplish. You projected forward on what you would be and would accomplish in the next 7 years. You formed your strategy to develop your building blocks of key activities and principles you need in order to build your plan. This is like taking the blueprints and then determining the list of materials and processes needed to complete building the structure, which in this case is your life plan. In planning, you develop the specifics of your plan right down to your weekly and daily schedules. You need to complete and then integrate those activities into your schedule. This is like taking the blueprints and putting a construction schedule in place for what will be completed and when it will be completed. This brings us now to execution, which is an extremely critical step because execution is all that anyone ever sees. You can spend all your life seeking wisdom, establishing goals, strategizing, and planning, but if you never get down to execution, then nothing is going to happen. It is the step when your dreams will begin to become your reality. It is during this stage that you actually begin to build your life from your life plan blueprint. Your life is a trek of creating your living legacy. Through the daily execution of your life plan blueprint, you will move one day closer to your 7-year objectives in each of the 7 areas of your life. Your will of life will be in balance, and you'll be working toward fulfilling your life purpose for this season of your life. In some ways, the execution phase of the WESPER process may be the easiest step of the framework. If you have completed the previous 4 steps properly and have broken down your 7-year objectives into small bite-sized daily chunks, it is simply a matter of being consistent and persistent every day. Now this does require daily discipline, but when a person is sufficiently motivated, discipline will take care of itself. You have created a great plan, now you need to follow through with it. Or it might be said that success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Here are some encouraging verses on follow-through on the execution of your life plan blueprint. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29. Do you see truly competent workers? They will serve kings rather than working for ordinary people. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10. Whatever you do, do well. For when you are in the grave, there will be no work or planning or knowledge or wisdom. Galatians chapter 6, verse 4. Pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get satisfaction for a job well done, and you don't need to compare yourself with anyone else. And finally, Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than people. So discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. On our check for today, you learned how important it is that your plans are in line or congruent with your strategy within the planning phase of the WESPER framework. After that, we explored the 5th phase of the WESPER framework, which is the execution phase. All of the results are produced in the execution phase, so it is the most important phase of all, but there is nothing to be accomplished without the other 4 steps. Tomorrow, we will move on to the 6th phase of the WESPER framework, which is review. This information is contained on page 56 through 58 of your Life Plan Blueprint Workbook and Manual. If you've not done so already, make sure that you do download your Life Plan Blueprint and encourage your friends and family to join us, and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. That will finish our trek for today. Just as you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, we ask you to help us to grow Wisdom Trek by sharing it with your family and friends through email, Facebook, Twitter, or in person as you meet with them, and invite them to come along with us each day. The journal for today's trek is available at wisdom-trek.com. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.